So in today's video, we shall analyze the different mid-cap funds. So we are looking at Axis, Motilal Oswal, Tata, Quant, DSP, and HDFC mid-cap fund. So again, the comparison is across different time horizons, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 10 years. So when you are going for any mid-cap fund or a small cap fund, for that matter, any equity investment, the first thing you have to look at is the risk profile. So are you an individual who is okay with the drawdowns and all that stuff, right? A pure equity investments always have a higher amounts of drawdowns. The second is whether is it suiting your asset allocation and the goals as well, right? In case you are not in case you are dealing with some distributor or an advisor, they should be able to explain to you, right? So, and anyways, the first 3 years are not much relevant for the equity. I mean, like in the first three returns, you should not put a lot of weightage for the first 3 years. So ideally, for any equity investments, should have at least time horizon of 5 years. The longer the duration, the better, right? So the most important thing here is like the median returns and the minimum returns are the ones you have to see, because 50% of the investors lie between the minimum and the median. And then look at the negative number of negative instances as well, right? So the number of negative instances shows the levels of drawdowns each of these funds have across the different time horizons, right? Now let's look at the Axis Mid Cap Fund. So typically the median is around from 5 to 10 years time, the median is around 17 to 18%. So the minimum return is ranging from 4 to 14%. 4 at the 5 years and 14 is here. So the maximum return is at around 20, see on a 5-year horizon it's around 27%, on a 10-year horizon it's around 21%. Now on the Motilal Oswal side, the median return for 5 years is around 14%. On a 10-year basis, the median return is 21%, right? The maximum return is around 22. The minimum returns are ranging from negative 2.44% to 15.66%. So compared to Axis, the minimum returns are better here on a 5-year basis. On a 10-year basis, the minimum return is higher on Motilal Oswal side. On the negative instances side, even on the 5-year basis, there is a negative instance here. So the next fund would be Tata Mid Cap Fund. So for the Tata Mid Cap Fund, the median return is ranging from 15 close to 16% to 19% from 5 to 10 years basis. Negative instances, again on a 5-year basis, there is one or two negative instances, because the negative instances here is like less than 0.2%. So no negative instances for all the funds on a 7 years and 10-year horizon. So median returns, if you look at it, compared to Axis Mid Cap on 3-year basis, or I mean like on a 5-year and a 7-year basis, it is underperforming. On a 10-year basis, it has done better than the Axis. On the other hand, for Motilal Oswal Mid Cap, so on a 5-year and 7-year, Tata has done better. So, but on a 10-year basis, Motilal Oswal has done better. So the fourth fund would be the Quant Mid Cap Fund. So again, here there are negative instances on a 5-year basis. From 7 and 10-year basis, there is no negative instances. Axis has no negative instances from 5 years onwards, right? The median returns are ranging between 17 to 20%. So 18.8 and 9.9. So compared to all other funds, so the median returns for 5-year and a 7-year horizon, it's highest for Quant. And on the minimum return side, on a 7-year basis, it has the highest return. So Axis has the highest return on a 5-year minimum basis, right? So Motilal Oswal has a highest returns on a 10-year basis, minimum, median, and mean, right? So despite underperforming on a 5-year, 7-year basis compared to majority of the funds, it has done exceptionally well on a 10-year basis. That's the reason why whenever you are taking a view, it's not just the 5-year or 7-year return which you have to look at. Sometimes you have to look at the valuations and what is the thesis of the fund manager. Whatever the fund manager is choosing may not work in the shorter duration. Sometimes it works in on a very longer duration. So that's the case in point here for the Motilal Oswal Mid Cap Fund. So DSP Mid Cap Fund, it has pretty much underperformed everybody on all the 5 years, 7 years, 10 years basis. But again, it has done anywhere between 14 to 17.5%. And the minimum return as well, if you look at the negative instances, along with Axis, it has negative instances from year 5 onwards. And the minimum return after 5 years, this is second best compared to the axis. That shows a lower volatility actually. Even here, if you look at it, um, it need not be exactly the lower volatility, but that on the drawdown side, whenever there are huge amounts of negative instances, the number of negative instances are lower on DSP and Axis, right? The final one is the HDFC mid cap fund. Again, the median returns are ranging between 14.5 to 20%. See, any return over 12% is actually a very good return, right? But these are some comparisons we are making across the different mid cap funds which have done really well. So that's the reason why even the 14.5 and 15% is looking a bit off compared to what the other funds have generated. Say, for example, Motilal Midcap on a 10-year horizon has given a median return of 21 and the minimum return of 15.6. Right? 15 is like really huge, right? So that way, even here, if you're looking at it, the median return is around 17.8%. It's not something small. Comparatively, it has done less by 2.5 percentage points, but it has done really well. So same is the case with HDFC Mid Cap Fund. The range has been between 14.45% to 20%. But when we are analyzing, this is not the only one which we have to look at. So despite this, we have to look at the charts and how it has performed. So when we are looking at the different funds, right? So the one which has done really exceptionally well between 2014 to 2018 is the HDFC Mid Cap Fund. So pretty much all the funds have grown in a similar line. So if you look at it from 2014 till 2016, it was the HDFC Mid Cap Fund which has given the highest return. Even in fact till 2000, yeah, 2016 ending, right? So from 2014 to 2000, beginning of 2016, HDFC Fund was not on the top fund. It is like a third best or a fourth best fund. So, but by 2000, end of 2018, it has delivered the highest return. So on the other hand, Quant has delivered the least return across the time horizon, right? And Axis has delivered the highest return probably from 2016 to 2018. If you look at it, the NAV wise, if somebody has accumulated all this year, probably they'll be having a higher return here. So that's the reason why don't always look at this one, because when we are looking at this one, probably we will end up investing at the highest. Say, for example, if you look at the Motilal investment data, Motilal Oswal midcap data, if somebody has invested here, so probably his return would have been the least. His or her return would have been from 240. So again till 240. So from this point, from 2016 November to 2018 ending, 2 years, it was a flat return, right? So in the similar duration, if somebody has invested in Axis, right? So at that point of time, it was at 186. And at this point of time, it is somewhere close to 230 to 40. If you look at the axis, right? So that way, here the return would have been in the next 2 years been 20%. So not always the past returns should not be the only criteria when you look at it. Obviously, from the risk management perspective, if you are looking at the rolling returns and understand, it will give us it should be one metric, but it should not be the only metric. So from 2019 to today, so Motilal Oswal has delivered the highest return. Along with it, the Quant mutual fund, Quant mid cap fund, right? So, but here the Quant mid cap fund has not delivered anything. It was pretty much flat. So, had somebody accumulated all these years for the Quant mid cap fund, so probably at this in this time period, he or she would have got a stellar returns, right? So that's how the things will change in the equity market. But again, if you look at this data, so the Quant mid cap fund and the Motilal mid cap fund, the drawdowns have been the highest, right? But they have delivered a huge returns in this 5 years, 6 years horizon. But the first 4 5 years, the Quant has done nothing. But the last 5 6 years, Quant has done the most. So if somebody has invested in 2014 and has waited down till today, if you look at it, Motilal Oswal has done the highest returns, right? But again, the drawdowns are really very steep here. Had somebody invested here, and probably they would have lost like 15 16%, right? So Quant Midcap Fund was pretty much flat till 2020, but from 2020 onwards to today, it was the highest delivered. It has given the highest returns. On the other hand, if you look at it, Axis was the other fund and DSP was the other fund which we were talking about. right? DSP and Quant have delivered something of a similar kind of return, right, from 2014 onwards. Only thing is, like at some point of time, the fund again, there will be a time period where for 2 3 years any active manager will be underperforming, and for 2 3 years they will be doing exceptionally well. That's something you have to understand before investing. And any mid cap fund, by seeing the chart, by now you have to understand that it is very highly volatile. So the asset class in discussion, it is merely for an educational purpose only. The funds we have discussed is neither an recommendation to buy nor a recommendation to sell. You have to do your own due diligence, right? See that it is suiting your asset allocation and it matches your risk profile and it is in alignment with your financial goals. In case you are not doing this, probably you should talk to your financial advisor or a distributor. Thank you.